All right, guys, here to talk about Season 3, Episode 37 of The Twilight Zone.
Yo.
All right, so this is a, I don't know, almost like a Christmassy spirit of an episode of Twilight
I hate
Zone.
this episode.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this kind of stuff. The acting was fine. The general premise is a man who is being forced to retire. He had been given a letter informing him of this. He blissfully unaware because he's not checked his mail in 3 weeks because of the holidays and all.
Which I can relate to.
And is told, like, you're actually being fired. So
no, look at it like retirement.
So this man's about to take his own life when he is confronted by the ghosts of all the former students he had, which are like, damn, he's got a lot of students die.
All good old Proud Boys that died in all the wars and all the stuff. It's very, like, whatever, patriotic or some shit. I don't know. That doesn't do it for me. There's a lot of stuff going on here. When the gun's missing, when he's like gonna go and like the front door is just open, you're like, oh shit. But they don't even push that far enough. He's not like about to eat a bullet or something, right? He's just sitting there. Well, it's like whatever.
He's in quotes about to.
Yeah, I guess.
He was about to shoot himself when he heard the bells from the school.
Which drew him into the thing or whatever. In like a modern retelling of this, he would like have the gun out. He'd be like about to kill himself or something like that. Here it's just very like implied or whatever.
Oh, maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I thought he did have the gun out and the bells stopped him.
Oh, I didn't think he didn't have the gun like up to his head, right?
They can't show that on daytime TV.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. In like the modern version of that, the gun would be like in his mouth. And he'd be crying, full snot and tears coming down his face. And then I'd be like, I like this. This is dark and interesting.
It felt very convenient. I'm like, I don't think I had like, and I guess a good teacher has had impacts on people, but I feel like I don't know if any teacher has ever done anything like this remotely for me, where I'm like, I'm in the heart of a battle and I go, my history teacher taught me courage, and then I go do something like.
I mean, things have impacts on people.
Sure,
I understand personally, but I mean, he's been a teacher for like 50 years. Mm-hmm. So there's like thousands of young boys that he could have touched in some way over all those years. So,
I actually wonder how many, because this is a private school, so it would have been smaller classrooms.
I don't know how many classes like that he has a day.
I wonder
how many per semester, a year.
No, but certainly hundreds and hundreds of kids he's had a possibility of going through.
And at the end, there's
there's like I
less
think
than 20,
right? Like the same amount of kids that were in the class during his actual class are in there as dead kids. So like under 20. I'd probably maybe 15 at max.
Oh, and like if we're not being clear about it, right? They say, oh no, you did mean something to us, because he was like, I've just been a fool all this time. It didn't mean anything. Which I'm like, I don't know why you had a reason to think that in the first place. Yeah. And now you just think all of a sudden it is because some dead people told you it was.
You've got a pension. You can live your life.
I don't know.
You like own a house right by the school. That's probably worth a lot of money.
I kind of disagree with the philosophy of it being up to the kids. Because if that's the case, I think most kids are like you, where they don't give a fuck about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So if he has to gauge his self-worth based on whether or not any kid randomly, because he's just delivering the poems, really, right? So like just because that poem happened to trigger something with that kid, like a lot of people have a random poem or a random story they read or a random thing from something that they like think about or like remember or something like that. And
are we to take him as an English teacher or a history teacher?
I don't know. He was doing poetry and stuff, so I thought English.
Well, the reason I say that is it's very strange to think that an English teacher is the person that had like these like deep patriotic ties and like made people braver and better than they were. And not that it's impossible. Yeah. It's not what I jumped to thinking.
That's the Twilight Zone post World War II-ish like nostalgia of like it can't just be people who lived like a normal life and like whatever. It has to be they died young, but you inspired them to be brave and they were out there and whatever and stormed the beach and all that stuff. Which again, like that's just two things rubbing together that I do not like or care about.
It was packed into just such a neat little bow that it didn't do it for me. And it's not the type of Twilight Zone I'm into. I'm into like the creepy, the weird, the strange, the fun. And this was like a depressing, not fun, like of an episode for me.
No, it's that like inspiring dumb thing. It's that thing of like I thought nothing mattered, but it really does matter. Kids, what's today? Why, it's Christmas. Oh, and all that stuff.
I still have time. Get me the biggest goose.
Yeah, it's that sort of story, which I don't even know who likes that. I don't know.
You would be surprised at how many people like that shit.
I hate people.
A lot.
I hate people, and I hate the things they
Comment
like.
below how much you love this episode.
I made a note here about that. The guy doesn't seem old enough. I'm not sure in retrospect if that's fair, but I remember just trying to do the math on how long he'd been a teacher and how he carried himself and his face and stuff. And I'm
I think he could have passed.
Yeah,
because he only would have to be like 70.
Okay, right to
really,
have taught for 50 years.
Really, it's at like 70-ish. Depending on what the criteria for being a teacher back then was, because there's a certain time where there weren't like, and I'm sure he's not into that zone, but I always like thinking back, like there were teachers that were young as hell because they were teachers before there were colleges, and like granted this is not old enough to be in that territory, but isn't that a humorous concept to you?
Sure. That
there were some teachers that never went to school.
Aww,
it's fun. But no, this man definitely had to have gone to college to be teaching at this prestigious
I mean,
like
he's an academic dude and all that stuff. I think because on the Twilight Zone, 38-year-olds look like old pictures of my grandfather and all that stuff that I just think like, oh, well, this guy, he must be 42 or something like that. And I wonder how old the actor was, and if they did,
playing a 72-year-old at the very least, because 50 years of teaching, you think 4 years of college.
Yeah.
I didn't think he looked too young. He may have been a hair young, but some people just look good.
No, it doesn't ruin the episode at all. But I feel like if he was frailer and more pathetic, it would be like better or something like that.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was the best teacher toward the end. It seemed like he didn't have their attention. So I'm like, maybe you should retire.
Maybe you should fucking retire, you old fuck. No, I don't know. I have no sympathy for people that are just like, I guess my life had no meaning. And then, why does he get this weird thing, this weird hallucination that tells him that his life has meaning?
Because he was so valuable to so many. They had to save him.
Our boys won the war because of this guy.
Single-handedly.
Yeah. So I feel like some people are going to draw from those things, but I think it's just too hammy, whatever you want to call it. What do you say, convenient or something?
It's just very convenient.
It's just lame. It just sucks. I like to have something to chew on after a Twilight Zone episode where I'm like, what if I were cursed like that? What if I?
Well, the most you could think of is like, okay, if I were to die right now, are there enough people that are dead that I have impacted that could help me? And I'm like, well, based on my age, and no, that's not something I can even think about right now. How many people do you even know that are dead that died at a point in time where you could have had an impact on what they did in their life? Not many, I would imagine.
So I didn't even consider that because I was just like, there's nothing for me here. But yeah, if I do try to apply that rule to this episode, I just get sad and like depressed because I'm like, how many dead army boys would there be singing my praises? None, Stefan. None.
Yeah, you've not taught nearly enough people that have gone on to die.
No, so that's an even harder no. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a bad episode for me. Thumbs down. Yeah. Let us know in those comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.